Hello, everyone. I'm Jean Grand-Maitre, Artistic Director of the Alberta Ballet, and welcome to Talk Alberta Ballet. I'm so glad that you could join us. This is a growing community, and it's very exciting for all of us at Alberta Ballet, including the dancers. It gives us a strength, and we know that what we do matters to everyone. So, thank you for your support. As part of our new creation, Our Canada, a portrait of our country through the music of Gordon Lightfoot. I was so pleased to receive some very interesting questions from a lot of you about this particular production and how it's moving forward. So I'm so glad to be able to answer these questions today. What is your favorite song in this ballet? Why? And what is Gordon's and why? Have you two shared a conversation about this? A favorite song is a complicated question because some are my favorite songs because of the rhythms, others it's the poetry, others it's the melody. There's so many ways to have a favorite song, but if you wanted me to pick one in particular, of course, it would be If You Could Read My Mind, because it's one of his great masterpieces. It's one of the great moments in songwriting history. And there's something about that song that captures the ephemeral in love and in the human spirit. And I think Gordon Lightfoot might have a different idea. We never really spoke about that yet. What I tell them is I will try to pick recordings throughout the history of their career and different live or acoustic performances, studio recordings, and I try to really represent every style of music they've interpreted. So it's a complex creation because you also have to stay on narrative and at the same time tell a story and have the dynamics of theater involved. But certainly the most important moment is when you sit with the singer and as it has happened with many of them, and they tell you at the end when the curtain comes down that they were really happy with the song selection and it represented their talent and the immensity of their repertoire in a good way. So that's always the most important challenge in pop ballets, is to pick the right songs. Question: how do you decide whether to have dancers dance on point or in modern footwear? Does the music and theme of a performance determine the type of footwear you would choose for the dancers? This would obviously be based on the choreography. What makes you choose one style over another? Well, that's a decision I make early in the creative process. Once I have a narrative and a song selection, then I feel the songs and I try to imagine if the dancers would be on point or if they would be more grounded in a contemporary kind of choreography. And so either you're grounded or you're more ephemeral. That's the challenge for many choreographers, because you have to feel deeply what the theme of the song will be. For example, I use point in a song called Pussy Willows and Cattails, which is a dreamy scene at night in the prairies. And for this, I knew I needed to work with point work because that makes the women seem like they're weightless. It's a very romantic aesthetic. And for other songs, like the song that represents the miners working in the mines, it's a much more grounded rhythm. And with this song, I've developed a whole vernacular inspired by gumboot dancing, all performed by the women. And so each song has a rhythm and has a tonality that informs the choreographer whether they should be working on point or not. But it's also the theme in the song and the effect you want to create on your audience. So all this comes together in that decision. Our last question: what happens in your mind before you start creating a ballet? Where does it start? Do you get a visual picture, a feeling, a story, or a style of dance first? Once you have that beginning seed, how do you choose the music? It's like asking the 1,000-legged insect, which leg do you start walking with? And then that could create what they call the creative block, when you start thinking about the process too much, because a lot of creation does happen in the world of feeling. And sometimes George Balanchine, the great choreographer, used to say, creating dance is like feeling your hands on top of a shelf and trying to see what's there but you never pull yourself up to really see it. It's all about feeling, and dance is that way. It's collaboration between the choreographer and the dancer. They're living clay, and so you're bouncing ideas off each other, all based on an inner feeling. Sometimes there are no real words to be said, but feeling. And because I think that some of the visual arts are there to express certain subjects which can't always be expressed well through words. So it has to be in this otherworldly, dreamy, like the essence of a play. A ballet is the dream of a script, so it can't be too literal. And that's why I think that the most exciting moments in dance were created when accidents happen, or when the collaboration with the dancers brings the choreographer into a totally new direction. But at the same time, you need structure, and you need to be able to move forward with a consensus on a vision, of course. And so this is important, that the choreographer always come into the room well prepared, and having studied the music and the structure of the music as well, for that's the script. But after that, even though you think you're going to go in this direction, creations always go in another direction. And as a great playwright friend of mine said once, it's like having a child. You want a soccer player, but they may become a television entertainer. And you never get to choose that, but you hope you'll feed the passion. Well, thank you very much for all your questions. They were excellent. I had great fun doing this, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. And don't be shy if you feel that sometimes the question may not be the right question. You'd be surprised how all of you have insight, and I look forward to collaborating on this creation with you as we move along.